Let me introduce everybody to myself. Hello, everybody.
Ready to rock and roll.
All right, let's.
My name is Wormfood. I'm playing Donk.
Good to see Donk back in this game.
It's good to be back, Dave. I'm tired of playing intelligent characters.
Well, it was hard to beat that introduction, but I'm a Steaming Light from the chat, and I'm playing the enchanting and powerful evocation wizard Elora.
Wow, can't top that one. And she loves to throw fireballs, guys.
That too. I did say evocation wizard.
Yeah, so we got 3 new faces. I thought we were gonna have 4 new faces today, but that didn't happen. We have one MIA already. So who?
Notice I only made the overlay for 6.
yeah. So who do we got? Who's the new people in this game?
Well, I'm Sylvia in chat. I'm playing Dirty
Zovia.
Nasty Druid. Filthy animal.
Ooh.
And I'm Miss Scarlet Nitz, and I play Ilsa. That's really all you need to know right now.
I'm Roach2000 in chat, and I play Rogar.
All right.
The rest you will know when we play.
My
So-
competition.
Elora and Donk, you guys are the original 2 from this, well, the old merry band of adventurers. Do you guys remember anything about the old Princes of Apocalypse game?
Oh,
Sure.
Dave, it's incredible.
I was actually
in-
watching the videos to
Oh,
get caught
wow.
up, but I'm
Alright.
only on like number 35.
Wow.
Stop.
Wow.
But
Impressed.
did you start from 97 and you're going backwards?
No,
Okay.
but I did get some laughs from the old Sasha days.
Oh, rest in pepperonis. Yeah, I know how to fly a griffin. I'm a very experienced griffin rider.
Of course.
Yay!
Wow.
Yeah,
Alright.
Dave, I remember some. You want us to talk about it, or do
Sure.
you want to do the recap, or do we
No.
want to?
How about we
whatever you
all
wanna do,
kind of
that's
talk
cool.
about it? I'll let you guys kind of talk about what you remember, and then I'll kind of fill in the blanks. Because I kind of remember just about everything.
I remember back in the day.
We
Yeah,
started out in Red Larch, remember?
Hills to the
And that's where we're starting today. You guys are back in Red Larch.
full
With
circle.
the destroyed monument of
Lance Rock.
the Lance Rock.
Yeah, so I kind of destroyed that, being my character jumping on that. But I think ultimately we had a whole bunch of strange, odd things happen. We made it to Red Larch.
You know, you devastated the town. The children loved Lance Rock. That is where the town had a lot of their celebrations and, you know, family outings would happen at Lance Rock. You know, it's only about 10, 12 miles away, but, you know, with the natural spring there, and
Just trying to help them out, Dave.
you fucking broke it. You
kids
literally,
shouldn't be that far out of town.
you know, Lance Rock was sort of like always teetering on another rock, and of course, you know, old Donk gets up there and knocks the goddamn rock over. Way to go. Well, Elora was out there first, and it was kind of teetering a little bit, but Donk was kind of the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Sasha had actually climbed it quite well, and then traditional Donk, decided I'm going to follow her up there, and then it ended up causing both of them to topple down.
I remember that.
And well, we're not going to go through that whole thing, but you know, it's where we first ran into the cult of the Blackened Earth was in Red Larch.
Yeah.
So what we need to do, Dave? Let me do a pretend like I'm thinking of history, and then you can edit a montage in on this video. So I remember. Okay, so now you can edit a montage of the whole thing. And that'll be a perfect segue for people watching on YouTube.
Well, I know that you guys had done several things around Red Larch first. There was the curse of Lance Rock. You guys had done that, where you had actually found a summoner, like remember the cave system that you guys had at Lance Rock?
Necromancer?
Yeah, the
Lord of
necromancer.
Lance
Yeah.
Rock.
Yeah, exactly. He was the Lord of Lance Rock, and you chased him off, and you hadn't seen him since. So that was pretty crazy. And then you found out about there was the missing delegates. Remember the missing delegates from that had traveled on the long road. So that's where it all started for you guys. You guys were looking for these delegates and found out a lot of information that there's 4 cults, one for each element, basically: air, fire, earth, and water. And over the course of several months, I'd say you guys probably adventured for six to 8 months real time. You had some others in your merry band of travelers. You guys remember who they were, right? There was Kel Kasim from the east.
Raz.
Well, yeah, Kel Kasim. After you guys had, delved through all 4 of what you guys thought as their 4 main areas where they inhabited, Kel Kasim got called back to the east, where his family needed him. There were massive dragon attacks going on. Something about this cult of the dragon that has been scouring not only the Sword Coast, but a lot of Faerun to the central Faerun to the east. And then there was Raz, little Raz. Unfortunately, Raz ended up falling in the cult of the Waters Temple. And your last, as you were just fixing to leave, unfortunately, she stepped on a trap and triggered a fireball, and it ended her life, actually. Then there was good old Theo the dwarf. Well, Theo, he kind of disappeared on you guys. You guys got back to Red Larch. You've been in Red Larch for about several weeks. You've been looking for adventurers, and Theo just up and disappeared. You have no clue where he went. You think that maybe he probably went back to his homelands. Maybe he went back up north where he was from, around Gauntlgrim. You just really have no clue. But whatever he did, he probably did it for the ladies.
I thought maybe he would have contracted a venereal disease.
Well, he went up for the ladies.
He's now
searching for
he's searching for cures back in his homeland.
Yeah. So you guys have been in Red Larch, and I've opened up the map for you guys, and let's kind of sync the view, and we'll share it, and you can see where you're at on the Sword Coast, where you're along the long road, and where the dot is there, the black dot, that is Red Larch. It is right on the long road. So you've been here for a month. Now there's been some things that had been happening as well. Remember, you guys found the Earth Cult was actually under the town of Red Larch.
And then, Dave, I also remember there's this weapon called Iron Fang.
Correct.
It's like a super powerful weapon that's in the hand of one of these prophets.
Correct.
And underneath here, underneath this area, this what is it, like a cathedral or whatever? Underneath that, there's this whole labyrinth, and we think maybe evil is in there. But it was too powerful for our group at the time, and now that everybody's abandoned us, we're kind of screwed from a power perspective.
Well, yeah, because you're down to 2 people, and you still have the leaders of the 4 cults that you need to track down and steal their and get their weapons, their sources of power. You have the cult, the temple of got the cult of Howling Hatred. You know, the leader of that cult is Yan Si Ben. You know, he has a weapon that you need to trigger. He has a weapon that you need to find. And then there's the cult of the Crashing Wave. Is Gar Shatterkeel. You need to find him. You know, you thought you guys were going to find them in the other temples that you had raided, but to no avail, they escaped. So you found out that there are more temples. There are 4 more temples, possibly a 5th. Just like, you know, the last temples that you were in, they were basically all connected together. You were traveling from temple of the fire temple to the water temple, and you guys were just, and you know, all this happened, and you had actually cleared out all 4 temples, where that is, you know, unfortunately when Raz met her unfortunate end to a massive fireball trap. Then there's the temple of, you know, well, the cult of the Black Earth. Their leader is Marlos Ernrail, so you need to find him. And then there's the cult of Eternal Flame, where it is Vanifer. So you still have 4 targets and one of the delegates that you have not found. You have not found the elf that has the magical seeds that were supposed to go to the green fields to the south. So, like I said, you've been in Red Larch for a couple weeks now. You've found out remember the constable of Red Larch? His name was Harburg. He's a butcher of Red Larch, and come to find out, a lot of the notable businessmen of Red Larch had actually been involved with this cult of the moving stones, is what they called it. And you know, they were worshiping nothing. Unfortunately, they were basically brainwashed by one of the cult of the Earth cultists that was just trying to get information about Red Larch, and he actually succeeded. So he's fled, and no one's heard from him since. So you guys are in the tavern. Over the last couple weeks, you've been trying to put out, you know, you've actually put quite a bit of propaganda out, looking for stout adventurers. And you know, you've interviewed tons of adventurers, and a lot of these so-called adventurers just they were all lackluster, basically. You know, they were basically all novices compared to, of course, you know, Alora and Donk. So they've been putting out these pamphlets. I mean, in all of the wildernesses along the long road, you've sent messengers to Waterdeep, to Baldur's Gate, to Luskin, maybe trying to find a powerful wizard from the Arcane Brotherhood. You've been scouring, you know, sent a scout to Neverwinter. So you're trying to find adventurers.
What do these things look like, Dave? What do our recruitment posters look like? Are we saying?
I don't know. You tell me what they look like. You and Alora are the ones that designed them.
Well, I think if Donk would design something, it would say, "Donk need help. Bring strong people. Call my number 555. No, meet Donk Red Larch 2 weeks. Bring beer and food."
Yeah, you two are almost ready to almost, I want to say, almost give up. I mean, every day you're hanging out at the tavern.
Yeah, it seems like not a lot of people are going to want to, you know, you send out a signal saying, "Hey, let's all band together so we can defeat these incredibly powerful horsemen of the apocalypse," or whatever they are, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Come on, guys, come on. I mean, it's going to be hard to find somebody to fit that bill.
Well.
But hey, we better try. You know, Donk's invested. He's lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he knows that if we don't take these guys out, bad shit's going to happen.
And the town, you know, they also want to support you as well. And, you know, just as you you two, they've been also trying to recruit, Purple Dragon Knights or Griffin Riders. I mean, there's been all kinds of call-outs to Daggerford, to Loudwater, all the, Succomber, all of the towns around. And you've actually, over the last couple days, you really haven't been in the Singing Sword Inn where you guys are at. You guys have been staying there. You're not having to pay anything. The constable's taking care of that. And you remember who the halfling is that runs the Singing Sword Inn, which is Kalessa Urkel. So Kalessa, she's been taking care of you guys. So she's told you that there are some, possibly, and she gives you one of these things. There are some adventurers for you that are down in basically in the open room down there in one of the dining rooms. And you are more than welcome to speak to them. And they are all there. They're expecting auditions from Donk, because that's what one of the flyers said. There's
Where is Donk?
a dragonborn.
Where is Donk?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
is Donk?
There's a dragonborn down there waiting for you. Kalessa said that there's a gnome that's waiting for you down there. There is also several others, a couple of humans, and then she says there's a dwarf also.
Just feels like the same old thing
Yeah.
every time.
The dragonborn is
Worthless
kind of unique, though.
adventurers.
There really aren't too
Well,
many
we'll
too many
see.
dragonborns.
So I guess Laura and I are gonna tromp back into that inn.
You might as well check it out, Donk. It may be a wash, but they're here, so let's go talk to them.
And I imagine, Dave, since we're so well known, because we've pulled this freaking town out of the fire like 4 or 5 times already.
Yeah, yeah.
I just anticipate as soon as we fling the doors open, it's just like Cheers. Everybody goes, "No!"
Norm! Norm!
Exactly.
Donk! Yeah.
And there's like probably a big and for I'll kind of describe what my character is. So I'm gonna come into the bar, and my character is like he's a humongous 8-foot tall Goliath, but he's different than a lot of the Goliaths out from the mountains that are all rippled with muscles and sinew and worked on the land.
Captain, thank you for the follow, Captain.
Donk is a humongously obese. Just picture the Blob from the X-Men.
Sanders, thank you very much,
that's
Sanders.
Donk.
Thanks
That's
for the
all he
sub.
does is eat. He's a cook. He loves his food, and he's not so bright. And he's a barbarian, so I'm going to stride into the inn, into the tavern.
Mike James, thank
I got
you very
like a
much.
little
Mike James, I appreciate it.
loincloth, and then just tons of fat. Just
Your
rippling.
fur loincloth?
Exactly. Well, not my fur loincloth. I keep my packages in there to be safe. And I just have all this lard that just bubbled, and I have this humongous
Luz,
hammer.
thank you so
that's
much,
made
Luz.
of a busted old oak tree, and it's magical. And I keep that puppy on my back, and I'm just gonna swing open the doors, grab a pitcher of ale, and a pitcher will be humongous, but in my hands it's just like a stein. Maybe a few legs of meat, and everyone knows that it should be prepared for you. I'm gonna grab this stuff.
Kalessa's already got it on the table waiting for you.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna grab that stuff. I'll give a little one of these. Thank so! And then I'll grab my stuff and I'll start going downstairs for another round of checking to see if anybody can fit the bill for what we have in store.
Well, a gnome, as the servers are coming out, a small little gnome comes up to you and introduces himself, and he says,
Hello there, big guy. So you're the famous Donk, I see.
I'll just look straight down, holding my plates up, kind of like looking down like a puppy's running between my legs, how puppies do. What you doing there, little guy?
and he's holding as he kind of looks up at you, he goes, "Whoa, you're a big fella there." And then he has a wooden bowl, a pretty large wooden bowl, and it's got vapors coming up out of it. And he says, my name's Sharky. Sharky Big Noodle, and I've brought you some rabbit stew I've made. And he, puts his hands. Yeah, it's Sharky Big Noodle. So he reaches up and gives you his big old bowl of rabbit stew. He says, "I made it myself. I'm from."
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, they call me Big Noodle because I make my own noodles. Yeah.
So I'm gonna reach my hand. It's a big wood bowl. I'll put it around my my arm, and I'll reach my hand in there. And even though it's stew, I'm gonna fish around the big chunks and just lunge them into my gaping maw and chow them down,
Your gaping
ripping some of
maw?
the chunks
He
of
means his mouth.
Yeah.
yeah,
God.
ripping some of the meat, just letting the juicy, delicious food just string all over the place, dripping back into the bowl, slurping some of it up with my hands. I don't need no freaking utensils. Utensils is for wusses.
Well, Sharky.
And I'm going to look down at Sharky. I'm going to go, "That's good stuff, Sharky. You keep it going. You good cook like Donk is."
I know it is. And he's walking off, and he says, "There's more where that comes from, big guy." He just kind of walks off.
Well, in sharp contrast to Dawn, Allura enters the room, and she is completely the opposite. She's very tall, scantily dressed in her usual purple satin garb, and she's got long platinum blonde hair, and it's almost like her skin almost glistens with magic.
Sort of
She's
like
just-
maybe a vampire, maybe from.
No, not a vampire.
Okay.
But she is quite pale, as elves are. She seems very reserved and controlled. And as she walks up to Donk, and Jesus Christ, Donk, again, do we need to clean you up?
No,
You
Laura.
look like a
need-
mess.
I'm going to pull a chunk out. "Laura, you want some rabbit?" And I'll just push it right into your face. Right up into your face. "You take bite! Take bite, Donk. I have rabbit for you."
No, thank you. I prefer my food served on a plate with proper utensils. But you go ahead and pick that out.
Exactly,
You put that back in your
Sanders.
teeth where you picked it out of,
Twilight.
and you enjoy that.
So I'm going to start heading. Dave, did you say this is downstairs where this audition
Yeah,
room
it is.
or-
There is it's basically in like an open dining room, and there are multiple there's multiple stories to this. The Singing Sword Inn. The second, pretty much there's three stories. The second story is all of the really, really, really large open public rooms where 6-8 people usually sleep in a room. And the third story, that's pretty much where you guys are the rock stars. It's pretty much where anyone with a little bit of money can spend it. And the rooms are really nice. I mean, everything is definitely taken care of, and
Yeah,
even the public rooms are really nice. And there's a table down there with several individuals, and it's around lunchtime.
Okay,
And lunch is
perfect for
being
me.
served, yeah. But you've noticed that this gnome, this Sharky Big Noodle that introduced himself to you, you've been in Red Larch for quite a while, and you've never seen this. You've never seen this gnome, and you've never even he's definitely not an employee of the Singing Sword Inn.
Well,
That's also Allura. One of the servers brings you out the Elvish wine that you always like to drink, and
Of course, the
Yeah.
best vintage.
fruits and vegetables, and all kinds of the proper things that elves would like to eat.
so Dave, when I descend to this or to this area,
Sure.
I want to get to. So I see this table out before me. I guess I'm gonna have to pull like maybe 3 chairs in and place my giant buttocks on all 3 chairs because
Sure.
there's a little bit of spillage.
Sort of
over
like
the,
buying tickets
over
for
the
an
chairs.
airplane flight, right?
That's
Buying
right.
seats,
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
Right on.
So I'm gonna. I'll say we've been probably doing this for a while, so I'm gonna pull up that chair and I'm gonna put that Sharky's rabbit stew to the right and a couple of these chunks of meat right in front of me and this giant thing of ale. There's just shit's like spilling and sloshing all around and just putting on the ground and my giant belly as I sit down scooting the table forward. I'm kind of pulling it back and I'm ready. I look to
It's
Laura
like
and I'm
when I
like,
go to the Chinese buffet, what happens?
that same thing happens to me, Dave. They're like, do you want to sit in a booth? I'm like, okay, but I can probably only go to one side because I'm so large, it pushes it out. So, but hey, so I sit down and I'm like, I'm ready to go, and I look to Laura and I'm like, let's start this, Laura. Let's get going.
All right. Well, I'm looking around at the group. Who looks to be the most anxious to
So
come up here and talk to us?
Yeah, what does it look like, Dave? What's it look like down here?
Well, like I said, there's several people that are definitely there. You know, the norms, the citizens of Red Larch. You know, two gossiping old yentas sitting off in the corner, kind of looking at you, and then there's a dragonborn sitting down at the table. There's also a red-headed dwarf that's sitting down at one of the tables, and the dwarf and the dragonborn are kind of looking at you, sort of like they're maybe anticipating, maybe, I don't know, maybe an invite over the table.
All right.
There's and then you also see Sharky Big Noodle, just old Sharky's head kind of sticking up, and it looks like that he's kind of looking at you too, and at Sharky's table he's got like a bow leaning up on the table where the bow looks like a long bow, and the bow is actually almost larger than he is. And you know, that's pretty much what you see in the end.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna get my my maul out, and I'm gonna pound it on or my hammer. I'm gonna pound it on the ground a couple of times to get everyone's attention. So make a kind of a big, large cracking noise on the ground, and then I'm gonna yell, "Listen, all! Welcome to area. Laura, help me talk."
I just kind of glance over at Doug. I'm like, God, every time. I just stand up and I'm like, fellow adventurers, those of you that are seeking to take on these evil cultists, please step forward if you'd like to talk to us, and we'll, see if you're a proper fit for what we seek to accomplish. And of course, she's got parchments already unrolled on the table, and her quill and all that kind of. Of course, she's taking notes.
Strength, feats of strength.
Making people sign contracts, huh?
No, she's taking notes on everybody.
Oh, okay.
Making sure that she remembers who's who. Everything's got to be in order.
And you know what?
The dwarf steps over the table to walk to you.
All right.
The dwarf jumps over the table to talk to us.
Walks over, but yeah.
I'm gonna point at Sharky. What's Sharky looking like as this dwarf kind of jumps up in front of Sharky?
Sharky is about 3 foot tall. The bow that he kind of carries over to the table. Well, he's kind of getting his things ready. You see that he's definitely a traveler. You see that he's got several pots and pans hanging off of his pack. He also has like a couple shoulder packs. It looks like he's putting on also, sort of like a bandolier, Mexican the Mexican bandoliers that you would see with all of the rounds. He has a couple of those with spoons and knives and a couple leather pouches that are on the end of them, and he's also wielding a couple daggers. But he keeps digging into this one pouch that literally he's pulling pots and pans out of a pouch, out of a small bag, and you're like, wow, that's kind of weird. He's pulling a lot of shit out of that pouch, and he just keeps kind of putting things on the table, and you can hear him say, I know I didn't forget that somewhere, and he keeps putting things back in the pouch and pulling things out.
While he's
pulls out a couple more weapons and shit spilling all over onto the floor, and he just seems super. And it's driving you crazy, Allura, because you're all about organization, and this gnome lacks organization. He's got so much stuff piled up on this table that it looks like he's like a traveling salesman or something.
I'm trying to avert my eyes from it, to be honest, because the overwhelming urge to go over there and deal with that is, but I have another task at hand here.
Yeah, and he-
If he actually is going to come up to us,
Oh,
we'll
he
be having
says,
a conversation
yes,
about that.
please, see one of the others. I'll be with you in a little bit. I'm trying to find something here. I
All right.
know I
Okay.
brought it.